Hold on. I want to
Hold
make
on,
sure.
no, it's already started. It's off the gates, guys. Welcome to Construct Your Life. Look who we got here, guys. This is my first night podcast. So, and the reason it's a night podcast is because this man had a new baby recently. So, we got to get the babies down. And guys, this is, if you don't know him, you should. This is one of my favorite people in the entire world. This is we'll call him Matthew Tefke. How are you doing, bud?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
You got it, my man. Thanks for having me on your podcast, even though the second one got messed up. We're going to re-record that one for sure.
That one was really good.
We'll make it even better the next time. So, guys, if you don't know about Matthew, I'll start by saying he's a great family man first. And more, he's been in real estate forever, it seems like, and super connector, flipper, wholesaler, owns a brokerage, management company, so many things. So why don't you start them kind of in your journey and give these young kids some hope when you got started so young?
Yeah, man. I enjoy telling the story, and I'll get as in depth as you want. But to be honest, I actually truly believe that I started in real estate out of fear. I worked a lot of different jobs all throughout high school. Every kind of job, asphalt paving. I worked at a shoe carnival, Bush's Chicken, Wingstop, baseball fields, umpire, Wingstop, wherever. And I hated looking at the clock, man. And I felt so trapped. Anytime I was looking at the clock, wondering when I would get off work, it was like this really, really bad feeling for me. And so I was very fortunate, I tell people, to be introduced to real estate at an early age. I had a single mom, and she was working at a construction company that my uncle started. She was cleaning houses, and she slowly bought 1 to 2 properties a year. And she did that in Round Rock, and she made a ton of sacrifices. And she had 3 phones. She was on one of her phones at all time. My brother and I were just like around it. Like, it was just wild. She just hustled. And so I got my real estate license when I went to college, and I didn't even want to go to college, but my mom said, hey, if you don't go to college, then I'm going to cut you off and you're going to be on your own. So another thing, I was helped out, and I was blessed that she paid for my school, which allowed me to focus on real estate and get in the business, which it takes time. And so I got my license my sophomore year of college. I started going all out. I was wearing a suit and tie every day to school, not caring about school, get first one in the office, last one out every day, just taking it super serious. I had a mentor that would sit down with me an hour a day. Really long story. We could get into it. I got in a fight with this guy.
I haven't heard this, so yes, please.
You want to hear it right now?
Yes, of course.
So he worked at the company that I was at. He was an old school, very hardcore, very rigid, and he would cross the line sometimes on things that he would say to women, or beliefs that he would have that were outdated. And I just went along with it to get the knowledge and to learn. One day, Lexi called me, and she was crying, and she said, this guy yelled at me. She said Myron yelled at me. And I was like, what's going on? I was like, hold on. And so I was riding a scooter in college. It was it was always about making sacrifices and saving money on gas to be able to invest. I drive a Prius right now, and I was driving up to the office, and I was like, what's going on? And she's like, Myron yelled at me. And she was freaking out. She's like, Myron yelled at me. And I was like, all right, I'll be right back. I'm going to go to the office. And I was just keep walking home. I'll be right back. So I go to the office. There was 2 ladies that were in the front, and they were like, don't go back there. They're like, don't go back there. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm going back there. And anyways, ended up, he yelled at Lexi because she tried to step in because he was yelling at the girl at the front desk. Mm-hmm. And they got in fights all the time. And Lexi told him to stop, and he yelled at her. So I walked in the office, and I was like, hey, I wasn't going in raging. And I walked in, I was like, hey man, what happened? What's going on? And he was like, it's none of your business. And I was like, it is my business. I was in love with Lexi at this time still. And he came up and he said, you want to take this outside? And he pushed me. And I said, yes. And he came running at me full speed with his arms out like this, and I tackled him, and that's it. I didn't do anything. Okay. They called the police. The police came, and the craziest thing, and I'm not proud of this, I didn't hit the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was 70 years old. I'm not kidding.
Dude, hey, you were standing up for your woman, man.
Yeah, and that was my mentor, man, and it was a big deal. Like, he got fired. They called the boss. They knew who this guy was. He had a temper, man, and he was, he had his own issues, but he was very, very good at real estate, very detailed. He would yell at me all the time, like, everything's super organized, notes, time frames, conversations. You drive the contract to the title company. You don't email it. You build a relationship. And I learned so much from him. And to this day, it sucks. Like, I've wrote him a few emails, tried to reconnect. I've said sorry. I don't feel like I did anything wrong, but I wish we could just get over that, man. And, is what it is. But that was my first mentor.
But obviously, and this is why I love you and definitely like respect your family and everything. It doesn't matter how good he is, or even if he's your mentor, if it's not falling in line with your core values and how you treat people, women, it doesn't matter who you are. And that's what you asked me on my podcast. Like, would you do business with people that you don't respect? And I said, no, like, because it matters to me more. And that's why I respect you, because you're going to stand up for her, even though you're young, even though that's your mentor, And so I think that's really says a lot about what your character is.
Sure. And I feel like most people will stand up for the people they love. And I just escalated quickly.
Well, it's kind of like Anchorman, that escalated quickly. So he leaves. So boom, mentor's gone. And then young Matt is like, what the heck?
Yeah. I mean, I was already going at it, man. Like, I had already had some experience.
And this was in traditional real estate, or no?
Yeah, this was residential real estate at a brokerage in Corpus Christi.
How old were you?
I was 18, and 18. It was the first brokerage that I interviewed with. I got my license. It took me 3 months. I was doing it. This is a common theme with me is like, I go all in. When I'm committed to it, I'm like obsessed with it. And so I got my license as fast as I could. I was doing 8 hours a day, studying it, learning. And after I got my license, I set up 3 interviews. Garen Dean Associates, Keller Williams, Coldwell Bankers. I walked in to Garen's office, suit and tie, not really knowing what this real estate game's about, just that I want to do it. And he gave me the job, and I canceled the other interviews. Mm-hmm. And so I never interviewed with any other real estate company. And I was around him. Amazing guy, great reputation. People loved him. There were, certain things that I would say were flaws, but, I had to learn and figure out what I would do different. Mm-hmm. Because I had a deal where I tell people, you might have heard this, but I lost $2,000 on like my second or third deal. And it was as much money as I had in my bank account. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really have to lose it, but I wrote this guy a check and did what I thought was right. He couldn't get the loan to buy the house. And because of that, he was going to lose his earnest money. And it wasn't my fault that he couldn't get the loan, but I could have extended the financing contingency and gotten him his money back mm-hmm. if we knew that was a possibility. And I told my broker, and he kind of said, you're on your own. And my client was telling me he was going to sue me. And I'm 19 or 18, and that did not sound good at all, So I wrote him the check, and a couple weeks later, man, or like the next day or something, quickly after, I had a panic attack. I was taking 18 hours of school. I was full-time. I got rookie of the year, my first year. Mm-hmm. And I had to go to the hospital. I had like 105 fever, and I was shaking and throwing up. And I don't know, I think it was overload of anxiety and stress and work.
Where did the $2,000 come from?
I was working at Papa John's. I was delivering pizza and had my real estate license. I was taking calls at Papa John's, like on the drives, like if it was a lead, I was taking it. I put a sticker on my truck. It was said, TAMUCC Realtor will help you find a property. It's totally free. And I had like my Twitter feed, and it was like this green emblem on both sides of my truck.
So I got to sit there for a minute. What compelled you? Now, granted, he could have sued you. Sure, that's scary enough as a 19-year-old. But what compelled you to write the check to him when you didn't really have the money?
I knew that there was something that I could do, or there was something that I could have done to prevent this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think more importantly, my broker said that I was on my own and I was scared.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Looking back, I wouldn't have wrote the check.
Mm-hmm.
I also wouldn't have made the mistake. And I'm glad I made the mistake because it's an invaluable lesson for the rest of my life.
1,000%. I mean, I've never heard that story before. So what an amazing way to look at it. And, that once again tells me exactly who you are. So you write the check, you're delivering pizzas.
Start selling a couple houses. I started getting some calls.
All right. Did anybody, let me say, you're young. Did anybody say dude, you're too young to be doing this? Did anybody say that? No?
No. And so another part of this, I told you my mom was, investing in real estate. She bought a house down there that this contractor named Robert that still works on our management team showed her. And we ended up, it was like 150. We put like 75 in it. We rented that thing to 6 guys and we just kept adding rooms. And it was this house that we just kept adding rooms. And I was collecting all the rent and living there for free. And it had its ups and downs.
So you were house hacking before house hacking.
Well, I guess. I was property managing for my mom and getting free rent.
Dude, you're a savage, dude. I mean, you're figuring it out.
Well, I was lucky though. A lot of people don't have a mom that will go buy a house that they can live in. So that's super blessed, man. And I work hard and at the same time, I've been very blessed and put in a good position. And, that's one thing that's why I'm so passionate about helping others and shining this light on what's possible with real estate, because I was lucky to see it, and some people don't see it and they just don't know it exists. Anyways.
No, 1,000%. So you start selling a couple houses, you start getting some success. And then where do we go from there?
Yeah. So, I did it for, 2-3 years, I guess. So it was I was making money, man. I made 12 grand. I found a house that I got my mom to buy that we got $60K equity off the bat, and we rented that out. So I told her, I was like, hey mom, I just paid you back for my college.
I love it.
Yeah. So I made 12 grand. The next year I made 30. The next year I made 50. I was like, man, I could stay in Corpus Christi and just kill it. I've already got a brand. I've got a name for myself. I was in line to take over that brokerage. I mean, it was an older guy, but I was going to be his understudy, and what happened was, I'll back up a little bit, but I hit this point where my grades started dropping really bad. And then I learned about this Masters of Real Estate program in College Station. And I was fascinated because I knew that I wanted to be in real estate for my entire life. And I knew that I wanted to build this solid base, education, experience. I want to learn and I want to be the best. I want to be the best at real estate. And to do that, I should get a master's degree in real estate from Texas A&M. And that was a big deal for me, man. I went to A&M Corpus. It's not a prestigious school. A&M College Station is in some ways. And so I started working on my grades, and eventually I got accepted into that program. And I was shocked, man, and it was super cool. But I had a 6-month break after college to wait to hear if I was going to get accepted. And I went to go work for a company in Round Rock called Don Quick. And he sells commercial real estate. He in a lot of ways, his brokerage owns Williamson County, got 75% of the listings, it seems. Mm-hmm. And he sat down with me for an hour every morning at 7 a.m. and talked real estate. It was amazing, man. It was a blessing. He's a legend in real estate. Mm-hmm. And so was the other guy in Corpus, in my mind. Mm-hmm. Those guys just shared a lot of wisdom, and I soaked it up, and that was a common theme. I always want to learn. And then I went to College Station, and I was out of my league, man. These people were way smarter than me. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew real estate on a level that they had no idea, because they were all finance, economics, whatever. and super high GPAs. I think I got in because of my experience. It would like set me apart in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Did that for a year and a half while I was going to school, and I worked at an apartment leasing company, leasing apartments. I was the secretary answering the phones, and I would pass the leads out to 3 real estate agents. And eventually I was like, man, these agents keep getting all the leads. Like eventually I'll get there, but I can't do this anymore. So I left. Got my appraisal license. Started appraising, started working with this local guy. The first project he gave me was to appraise 6 fireworks stands all over Texas. Brownswood, Texas, Edinburgh, Texas. Like I had to take a 6-hour drive to one of these. And I didn't know, dude, this was the hardest thing ever. Like you don't just go get comps. I'm calling appraisers. I'm calling the city. It was like, I think he was testing me, man. I really do. And I never appraised anything else after that.
I've never heard of appraising fireworks stands ever in my life. So that's new to me. Okay.
So then I started working at a company called United Realty of College Station. They managed 2,000 doors, apartments, houses. I was one of 3 leasing agents. We sat in the office whenever we were on the clock and just took calls. And I was there from November to like March. And I would lease like 3 properties. Anytime I'm going out and showing, I would lease like 3 properties a day. Mm-hmm. And I ended up making like 40 grand. And I was like, whoa, this is insane. But the rest of the year is slow times.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So what happened was I started talking to the owner, and I told him like, man, I love this. Like, how can I add value for you? What do you think about my career path? I was always asking people, getting advice, like just picking people's brains, always. And we ended up partnering. We brought a company because I told them that Lexi, my wife, was going to take over managing my mom's properties. At the time, she had like 12 single-family homes. Mm-hmm. And a big thing about that is like she still has debt, and she's not making any money from them, but she will in like 10 years. And that's just the power of real estate. We opened a company in Austin called United Realty of Austin. They own 25%. Lexi and I own 75%. Meanwhile, I was working at a company called Edge because when I graduated from that degree, I knew I had to get into commercial real estate. Like I just had to test the waters and see what it was like. Everyone I went to school with became analysts. They went to Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, just crazy, like New York, Houston, Dallas. I was the only one that came to Austin and did property management and brokerage.
The mean streets of real estate.
Yeah. So I did that for 3 years. I was around super smart people, really good guys. I was a junior broker for Gold's Gym, Dick's Sporting Goods, Advance Auto. We would wine and dine these people when they come to town. We'd have these parties in Vegas every year, in Dallas and Houston, these conventions. We had to wear slacks and nice shirt and nice shoes. And I did it, man. And it just wasn't me. I played that game, but it wasn't me at all. Like I like to wear sandals and flip-flops and shorts. I looked at it.
Stop. I've been waiting the whole day to tell the story. I'm going to break in real quick how I met Matt. So Matt got invited to this party. It was like 12 dudes masterminding in December. And Clyde was like, can I bring my buddy? He's got a lot of multifamily or a lot of property management. I was like, I don't give a shit. Bring whoever you want. And in walks Matt. And the beard is down to here. And he's wearing flip-flops. And the chest hair is blinging. And Andreas, Andreas, he goes, who's the stoner over there? And I was I was like, that guy's an assassin. I was like, he just doesn't look like it. No, this is true about you. You like it relaxed for sure, man.
Yeah, man. And that's, I think that's back to what I said at the very beginning, man. I had this fear of buttoning this up, having the tie, telling where to be. I didn't want that. And real estate gave me that opportunity.
Because in essence, you're a little like me. I don't like the clock, and I don't like people telling me what to do. And when if you're advice to a young person, right, that's getting into real estate, do you think that they need to act a certain way or dress a certain way? Or would they be more beneficial to just be themselves? Or does it matter where you're working?
I think that's easy, man. It's be yourself. And we can get into, this or go back to it. You let me know. But
no, we'll go back to the story, but I just wanted to ask you that right now.
I've really breaking it down, man. There's a way to do it that 100% works. It just takes a lot of time. And at the same time, it's not for everybody. It's sink or swim. And you got to keep fighting every single day. I do. I still make a ton of sacrifices all the time. So a couple things. Sacrifice is huge. You have to sacrifice things. It has to become something that you are like, I'm going to do whatever I can and everything I can to succeed. Being a good person, being consistent, saying you're like doing what you say you're going to do, and building real relationships. If you do all those things and you do it the right way, and I'm happy to expand on this as much as I can, I strongly believe that it will work out for you.
No, I mean, 100%. I mean, I think that especially, I meet these 17-year-old kids, 18-year-old kids that want to work for me, and they think real estate is a get-rich-quick scheme, and that ain't the case. And look, you've had some wins, I've had some wins, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Just like I said about my mom, man, she tells people she owns 14 houses, whatever. She's not rich and living in the dough, but she's not going to be filthy rich, but she'll be in a great position in 10 years to do anything she wants with income from real estate. And she didn't go all in. She did this on the side, investing in 1 to 2 houses a year for 15, 20 years.
And 100%, I think that's the hardest thing when I try to articulate investing and just in general is like, all you have to do is do you. And like, I think that one of my things, especially with people that have a good job, let's just say they have a great job, they're so quick to leave it, right? And I respect that. Like, who doesn't want to leave your job and walk your own path? But what I'm saying is that if you use that income to generate more buys, then you'll be even more comfortable later on in life, because this business does take cash. It does take cash.
Well, that's back to the sacrifices, man.
Yeah, for sure.
The cash I spend is on investments. I don't go on vacations. I don't drive a nice car. I just bought a little RV that we put in the side of our house to try and make some money on it, right?
True story.
Lexi, we don't even go on dates, man. Like we cook at home.
Well, let's calm down. Like,
no, dude, look, we have our time. We go on walks every night. We are going on a date this Friday because a tenant I helped has a hookup and he wanted to give me something.
You're ridiculous.
No, I'm just, hey, it's
yeah,
real,
I get
man.
it.
Like,
I get it. But yeah, but that being said, Matt Tefke, that being said, let's tell them how many times that you moved in the last, let's say, 6 years. How many times you think?
9. Yeah. But it's not even, it's not even 6 years. It's like 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. Excuse me. 9 times in 3 years. They're living in flips or like.
Those are sacrifices. Lexi didn't want to do that every time.
But that being said, Matt, do you not have the house that y'all wanted now? Because you knew it was time. You got the second baby and everybody's comfortable. I've been to it. It's a beautiful house. So those sacrifices that you did led you up to be able to live in this house.
Well, that's the thing, man.
Stress.
Like, I talk about loving the process and you have to, but the reality is, like, there's a goal. There's an end goal. That's what all these sacrifices are for.
What is the end goal?
I'm going for financial freedom. I'm not there. Like, I don't have enough money coming in where I don't have to worry about anything at all. I don't have that. And I would like to be to that point. I don't know what happens after that. I believe I'll keep working. But I have to hustle, man. I have as many houses as my mom has, but I'm trying to pay that debt off quick and not just ride it out and be okay 30 years from now. Like, I'm super ambitious. And like I said, I'm going all in on it. I love what she did. She created a good life. And like, I want to grow that. And she set up something for me and my family. And I can do the same for George and his kids. And that's like back to real estate are these assets that freaking generational wealth is created. And like, you see some of these, you go look on like Lake Austin or something, and you see some of these houses, I look at them and I'm like, that's like that's a house from someone whose family had that like 7 generations. Like that's big money. And they did that a lot of times through real estate.
Mm-hmm. And we talk about it all the time. Wouldn't it just make me and mine and yours days if your son took over our businesses? All the business we do together, like that would make us so happy. Like we love that, you know?
Well, they can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want, but we joke about it all the time. We think it's great, you know, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I wish you would elaborate on the story that you told me that really blew me away. And like, guys, you think I have a network? And my network might be a little more nationwide, but if you need anything in the world, you just text Matt. He's like, oh, I got the guy, I got the girl. So why don't you tell him about kind of what you did to like gain this this massive network of, but also goodwill too. You know, you just have this massive network of goodwill. What'd you do to?
I'm glad that's a good segue, man, because it kind of brings us back. Because when I started at Edge, I would be given these tasks, and commercial brokers are notorious for not answering or calling back people that they don't know. So I would be told to get the simplest details, and these guys wouldn't call me back. None of them. So I ended up having to take them to coffee, met them, introduced myself. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I'm learning. I'm getting mentored by every single person I talk to. I'm spending $3, you know, $7, $10, whatever coffee. And I saw the value. And what I realized was I've got all the education I need. I listened to every Bigger Pockets episode. Gary V, obsessed, just like you talked about. I just engulfed myself. Anytime I was driving, I would have hour drives to work and home every day when I lived in Spicewood. We moved to Spicewood in the tennis cabin, man. Seriously. And I saw the value of creating a network. And then I realized how these things come together over time. And all I did was I really straight up, I think I give a lot of credit to Gary V, man. I just believed in adding value and giving back. And I would be like, hey, every meeting, how can I help you? Who can I put you in touch with? And I would leave the meeting with like 3 people that I would hook them up with that I met a couple weeks ago. And it just started compounding. And then I asked them, who should I meet with? And then I just started meeting everyone. I still to this day do it. To anybody, if I see if a wholesaler sends me a deal or a wholesaler posts a deal on Facebook, I say, hey, can I buy you coffee or lunch? I have no idea who they are. And I just go meet them.
So what do you think, because this is what I do, and we know, you know me, I just fly to meetups like across in Detroit, like California. What do you think it does when it switches the narrative to meeting them in person and like they're almost like, oh, look, this like this dude's just adding so much value. And I think it like it's hard to describe, but it's like it ingrains their like, okay, this guy's like legit and he cares, right? And you're going that extra mile, and it's really not. I mean, what is it? 30 minutes of your time and like $7, like. You know, what do you think that is about that changes over like a phone call or a text?
It's the commitment level, man. It just shows that you're like in it, and then you follow through. You don't cold call somebody and, you know, get to talk to them for 30 minutes and then also find out how you can help them. You just can't do that. They're not gonna be about that. You invite them to coffee, they're willing to come out, they're willing to, you know, be friendly and try and meet you. I mean, otherwise they're not gonna come out, right? And yeah, dude, they see the level of commitment, and it goes back to everything, doing what you say, which is so critical. I mean, I've run into people that are like, I'll hook you up with this guy, I'll do that. They never do it. Every time I tell them, I do it. I follow through. And they realize, like, this guy gets stuff done. He's serious. He's committed. I call him 6 months later, and I can wholesale a deal to him, you know.
You know what I do? I do it right there. Like, I literally connect them right there. Like, and I'm like,
you've done that to me, man, many times.
Like, I'm like, oh no, I'm serious. It's happening right now. Like,
I love it. I've thought about that. Like, when you invite me out, like, hey, coming out to Arizona, I need to just like order the ticket on my phone. Right
dude,
there.
That's what I'm saying. Dude, that's what I do. True story. Chris, you know Chris. Chris, I go, you can do the work. You're gonna work for me podcast. I go, what do you really want? He goes, I'd love to meet like 5 investors that are actually doing deals. I go, okay. Whip out my phone. I'm like, there you go. I sent 5 texts. I go, anything else? He goes, No. I said, okay, get to work.
Nice.
You know, like, dude, because you know what? Yes, it shows them that you're serious, but also, guys, just a little secret. I'm like crazy ADD, so it's like if my mind's a filing cabinet, so I'm just getting it off the files. You know what I'm saying? But in that, and you still do it, but in that kind of years, how many? Let's just say every day for how long? How many days a week were you taking people to coffee?
I would at least do 2 a day, every day.
For how long?
2.5, 3 years.
And guys, what I mean, like literally, you can go, hey,
dude, I would have 6. I would have like 5 people show up to the same place, and I would be like, "What's up, everybody?" And I like it in a lot of ways, but it was also a huge hustle, man. I was,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there was many days. I'm not kidding. I threw up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is like my brain is moving so fast it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrifice.
1000%. And so you're at the realty company, and then how did you start your property management company? How did that go about? Because I will tell you this, and we've talked about this at your house. The property management stuff's not sexy. There's no part that's sexy. And the way you explained why you did it, I thought was very interesting and strategic on the reasons behind it. So why don't you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, and I don't remember what I told you, but
you told me that it was like the grunt part of the real estate, but it also got you closer to owners.
There's a lot of things, and honestly, it's a mixture of my mom having properties, me wanting to grow that business. I always thought that I was going to take these 14 properties and turn it into 50, and then that would be our family business. I never took that route, and that's still something I probably will do eventually. But I started building businesses, real estate businesses. But I wanted to manage my mom's houses, and also the brokerage I worked at did property management. And I talked to the broker, and he said, "Dude, you have to have." The first day first week that I went into work there, he showed me like $180,000 check, and he was like, "You'll get there one day." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?
What is going on right now?"
He would sell ranches, big ranches. Yeah. And where's I going with that?
I don't know. But I was talking about property management company.
Oh, yeah. He told me that he said that management was the moat around the castle. It's the money that consistently comes in to support your business and allows you to operate. And so the other aspect of real estate is, you know, making money on properties or on commissions. And commissions are just hit or miss, here or there. You never know. You can't count on anything. I just had a guy, let me tell you a quick story.
Sure.
Guy from California, we just offered $830,000 on a property he was going to buy as a rental.
Mm-hmm.
They countered and said 840, and we have a deal. We said deal. Before that, the guy wanted to offer more, and I talked him to 10,000 less, and we got it 10,000 less. He was super excited about it. We're jacked up, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't sign the contract. They hold an open house the next day. They get multiple offers. We lose the deal. My guy says he's not going to buy real estate anymore. He's buying stocks. So I had this like $25,000 commission that I was like working for over 4 months that I thought was about to happen. One day later, the whole thing's gone. Keeping lines in the water, it was the point. Is like you have to have so many things going on. You can't count on your commissions. Can't count on anything going, and that drives the fear. I got to get up and work every day. I got to go hunt. Mm-hmm. But back to management, like it's the trash men of real estate. Nobody wants to do property management. It's a thankless job. We get complaints. My wife broke down crying every week, once a week for 2 years, and finally she got through it, and she's like really, really good at it, and she's removed the emotions. But it allowed us to have consistent income. And what happened was, started with Lexi. I was working at Edge. I was networking. Networking led to new doors for property management. It also helped me close my own deals. I was all commissioned, doing both things at once. It went from 14 to 52 to 100 to 150 to 200 to 250 doors. Mm-hmm. And we ended up having like 7 or 8 employees, people that I would just bring on because I believed in them. I didn't even know what role they were going to do. I had Andrew. We're paying a marketing salary. Like, mm-hmm. nobody's doing that in property management.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our that's all of our profit, like straight up, you know, that job. But I have an amazing person, Andrew, and like get around good people.
By the way, because I know he's listening, and I texted him yesterday. Best looking dude in real estate, hands down. I think he's trying out. He's trying out for Top Gun 5. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be amazing. He said I get to be Goose, so I'm super excited.
Hey, not only best looking, man, best guy.
Yeah, he is the best dude on the planet. Seriously. And something, but I want to commend you for something because it matters. One, your wife is literally one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my entire life. So she's the glue that holds it together. But when I worked at the Pearl, when I worked for Silver Ventures, the owner was top notch. And so, yes, you are very good at finding great people to work for you. But Matt, I also think that it's because you're such a good person too. And both of y'all are, and it starts from the top. And because of that, you attract great people, right? And your company, every employee I've ran into is just, they're just so great. I mean, you know, and that is a testament to the culture that you've created, and that's very important to me. One of the things I really harp on is culture. And so, you know, so you start this company, you're like hiring people, and you hire Andrew, and like, what is happening? You're trying to figure this out. You know, you're just kind of falling forward. Yeah,
it's a mess. It's growing so fast. We're growing 100% a year. You know, I'm constantly adding doors. Lexi's like, what's going on? We're making like 12 grand one month, -5 the next month, +2, +4, -1. I mean, we're making money, but it's all over. We're taking constant gambles. I'm like, Andrew, go buy 500 shirts and 500 hats. Let's give them out. You know, let's pay for this. Let's pay for that. You know, it's fine. I'm also like making decisions based on commissions that were coming in. All my commissions were going to TRE. I'd be like, oh, I got like 14 grand coming in this month, 20 grand. Like, great, we can go spend. It was another big aspect of me, and it's a problem in one sense, and it's a strength in the other. I'm a gambler. Biggest you've ever met.
Tell them how many offers you put in a day.
Well, I've done 60.
Yeah. You typically do what? 20 to 30 to 60 offers a day, give or take?
Yeah, but I slow down. I change my strategy. I'm always adapting. Sometimes I'm going after 1 or 2 commercial properties, very pinpoint. And I don't have the ability to buy everything I see. Otherwise I'd be sending out 1,000 a day, right?
What's your philosophy on no's?
On notes?
On no's from
just collecting no's, man.
Collecting no's to get to the next yes.
You want to collect 10 no's. I'm about to work on a plan to implement to our agents that want to do it. And it's going to be like, you got to get, 5 no's a day. You got to talk to 2 property owners. Doesn't matter what property they own. You got to talk to them and figure out who they are and what their goals are. You got to knock on 1 door. It's going to be something crazy that I think is going to be a blueprint.
And as you sit here today, just to try to dig into the mind a little bit, get you to think about it. Would you have done anything different when you were growing, or was it just a full-on, I'm going to test this out and kind of figure it out and fall forward? Or
fall forward. Honestly, man, like I believe in God, and I believe that God is like all about love, and I'm not about too much into the religious side of it, but just like love and people. And I honestly believe everything I've done has been following what is put in my life. Things happen. Kaufman and I talking about we want to get a construction branch going. A guy emails us the next day. I meet this person. I don't even know, man. I just go with it and do what's presented and then be the best person I can and work hard and just live my life that way. And, I have people reach out. People don't do this, what I do. I have people that are like, hey, man, you look like a cool guy. Can I buy you lunch? I go meet that person. Like a lot of people think that's super weird. But I just do it, man, and I end up making friends. And like a guy did that, and I love that guy.
Yeah, and like, I mean, we became friends kind of the same way. And so, what I appreciate about you, and maybe you could talk on this because you don't talk about this stuff much, but I think we can get you to dig into this a little bit. But yes, your mom was a investor and all that stuff, but like, where does this positive, like heart-centered, like, where did you pick this up? Where did you cultivate it? Like, is it
I
just
don't know,
part of who
man.
you are?
Yeah, my dad's extremely positive. My dad wasn't always around, but when he was around, he was very, very positive.
Mm-hmm.
Coolest guy that you could hang out with. But I had issues with that. Like he wasn't around for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
first time I ever got drunk when I was 16 years old, I had a freak out. I didn't even know I had these feelings, and they all came out about my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten over it. We're good. I still see my dad, but he was super positive. I think I'm very blessed with my mind for whatever reason. And I know people that have these constant struggles, and I try to understand it, and I can't because my mind is so level. And I think a lot of that is just how how we're wired. I know people are like that, and people have anxiety. Lexi has anxiety bad, and like
Mm-hmm.
I don't fully understand it, man. And I try
Mm-hmm.
to help the best way I can. But my mind's like that, and then also perspective. Like I've seen how I've been to Africa. I've seen people that don't have drinking water and like came back and was just torn up, and like that's a huge perspective in my life. I saw my mom make sacrifices. Like I don't feel like I have a lot to complain about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think something that I commend you for is like, I've never once, and I mean this for real, I've never once heard you slide into victim mentality once. You
No,
are
I
you
always
are
blame
you you
myself.
are you are a solution oriented guy.
I want to
Meaning,
tell you, part of that comes from probably my mom. She was very hardcore, man.
mm-hmm,
If I had a good hit on the baseball field, she said like, "Why'd you look at the ball?" Like it was. She was very hardcore.
mm-hmm.
Me and my brother would come home and like all of our stuff. She would throw all of our clothes and everything on the front yard, like because like we didn't like put both our shoes on the shelves. I had friends in high school that my mom didn't let me hang out with, and it was like the worst thing ever for me, at the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Two of those friends are dead,
Okay.
and I probably would have been in that crew.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that now it's making a lot of sense, dude. My parents were hardcore. I mean, my mom scares the shit out of me. And it was no joke. I mean, and you're so angry as a kid. You're like, you don't get it. Like, why can't I hang out with this person? Like, why are you being so hardcore? And now I look back on it and I commend them, right? Like,
Yeah, I get it.
there's certain things, right? My mom told me, always show up early, always work hard, no matter what. If you're picking up trash, if you're, the president of the United States. And then she also taught me that cold beer tasted better after a hard day's worth of work.
Never quit, man. Never quit on
Never
anything.
quit. Yeah, for sure. And so, that's kind of what has shaped me and is kind of that work ethic, right? And that hustle. And, I don't think that anybody ever has to worry about me and you working. I don't think that's ever going to be the case, because we like it. We love what we do, and we work hard. And I do I've done your Airbnbs for you in the past, and that I'm going to take care of what I say I'm going to do, and I do it to the utmost of my ability. And so a lot has changed in the last couple months for you. You grew that property management company, and then you merged with another company, which I think was a great move on your part. And what's the name of the new company?
Stone Oak Property Management.
How many doors does the company manage right now?
So we've got about 650, 700. Our sales guy's he's going for 30
Okay.
30 new doors in 30 days. He's at like 20. He's at like 21.
And so you are just going to grow that as big as humanly possible, right?
Yeah. So you're right, man. It was one of my best deals, and it happened right before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Back to what I was saying, TRE was running and gunning, and I don't know what would have happened if we had COVID and it was just us. Lexi was having a baby, having COVID. I mean, it could have turned into nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a risk also doing this deal.
And how long was that deal in the works?
Probably like 6 months. And before that, I had 3 or 4 deals in the works for about a year. I was always like talking to people, talk to some guys.
What is your philosophy as an entrepreneur and investor to partner up with other people? What is that your thought process behind that? Because this probably won't be the only one you do. So
no, it's not. I'm a huge fan. I'm a big believer in it. My theory is, making one thing about real estate, you're making money in your sleep. When you realize that, it's fascinating, right? Every day, one of the properties I own is going up in value. That's really cool. So that allows me to have a little bit of peace of mind that something's constantly growing, because I always have to be growing. I always have to be doing more. Like I'll wake up and I'm like, I got to go email every multifamily listing realtor, on the MLS right now and tell them about our management company. And it leads to like 4 or 5 leads. So it's like, you just got to keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, shoot, where's I going with that?
No, I said partner. Partner.
So yeah. So like my theory is, if I can get myself to do what I think I'm best at and also not be tied to a job and be free, which is what I always wanted, then I'm living the best life that I can right now. And teaming up with property management removed me from forcing the company to grow, because we had to not be negative that month. I had to go get new doors, or else we'd be losing money. And so like I would have to go have these coffees. I have to do this. It kind of became a job, but I was growing it, and I was just working at it every day. And when we teamed up with Stone Oak, they were number 1 on SEO Austin property management. They were getting like 15 doors a month from inbound leads. They had nobody going out and bringing doors in, meeting people. So I met 2 of the partners, and one of the guys is a growth-minded guy, and he likes me, and he loves what I do, and he thinks there was tremendous value in that. I tried to do the deal, and like I wouldn't be involved, and like I was just going to be out, and they wouldn't do the deal. They're like, you have to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it freed me up to know that like everything was being run perfectly, because it wasn't this chaos mess that was just thrown at Lexi. And it also helped Lexi. I mean, she's a huge part of this, dude. Like, that.
Dude, guys, just so you know, I'm gonna have her on, because she's actually the ship. Yeah, she's the one running it. He's the hunter.
Yeah. So can't understate that, But the theory is get myself to be in a position where I can do what I do best and what I like, and make my own schedule.
So I want to stop here, because it's odd that this happened to you and the same time it happened to me. And I'm just going to use myself as last year, I was lying to myself about a lot of positions that I was in business, and saying like, I can do all these things, and that's great. But then I would be doing things that wouldn't serve me in my highest form. And it wasn't until I lost my ego and I partnered up with the right people that do the opposite of what I do, that I feel like I'm soaring. And because I'm soaring and I'm only doing things that like are beneficial towards me and my highest power, it doesn't feel like a lot of work. It doesn't feel like there's like 30-pound anchors around my legs, And I would imagine that you felt the same way when you could have this reliable business partner to grow this, but you're still out front and you're still promoting it, but you're doing what you do best, right?
Yeah. And I also had I had like 20 real estate agents that hung their license with me, that thought I was a good guy and that knew I was there to help them, but they had no resources at all for me. Okay. And I gave them a really good split, and I told them that, and they stuck around, and I helped them every single way I possibly could. And I've been blessed, man. They may not be making as much money as, most brokerages with 27. I got 27 now, but they're like really, really good people, and they're loyal, and I like being around them, and we're building this team we're all like building it. And I had to get out of management to focus on this, and I had to get another partner, Alex Kaufman.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because I've noticed from the outside looking in, there's a massive shift lately towards your brokerage and the amount of value you're providing, and just kind of the entire shift of that business. It's amazing. I came on and talked last week to your agents, lit them up. It's still on the Facebook page if you want it, guys. But just talk about how partnering up with somebody like Alex, who I highly respect and really love that guy, and talk about the shift that you're doing for your agents. I mean, you've gained 7 agents in the last 2 months, give or take.
Oh man, we're getting like 2 a week.
2 a week. Woof.
Yeah.
And you're not Keller Williams. You're a boutique agency.
Yeah, and
So
we got our agents. We got our agents bringing on agents, and we're giving them part of it, and we're trying to teach them. We finally have a clear vision. We're trying to teach them how to make money on every single aspect of real estate.
Okay.
And if they make money on assignments, they flip a house, they own a house, we don't make nothing. But we're committed to this long-term vision of building this army, this network of people.
So let's drill down on that, because I've got another friend, which I still need to, now that we're talking about networking, I just talked to him yesterday about meeting you, because he does the same thing. So let's talk about the vision for the agents, and let's talk about what you're talking. Some people don't even know what assignment means. So why don't you
back up though? Yeah. I don't want to leave Alex out, because Alex is a huge part.
Yes.
Alex Kaufman has been around doing what he said he would do with me for over 4 years. Mm-hmm. When I told him to go make 10 offers a day, 20, he would make 20. And he would just stick around, man. He would show up. He'd ride in my car. He literally got into owning real estate with me from being in my car. And it's the craziest story, man. But
guys, there's no chance. I'm going to put it out there on the airwaves. There's no chance that if you ride in a car with Matt, you won't own real estate. I guarantee.
I also want to step back and hopefully people know this, but I don't know everything, and I don't want to act like I do. I know certain things that have worked and I'm passionate about. Mm-hmm. But I don't ever want to come off like I think I know everything about this. And that's why I say, like, the certain things that work, but it's sink or swim, and it doesn't work for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And you've had massive failures too. Yeah. And it's not like it's just all roses. Yeah.
Yeah, but my thing is, like, if you come around me and show me you're committed, I'm gonna own real estate with you. Actually, it's gonna happen. Like,
sure.
Yeah. So Alex is a huge part, man, and he did all those things, and I made him a 50-50 partner. Back to what you said, I saw a ton of value in what Alex did and does, and I wanted him on the team. I saw some notes.
Hold on. Back to trainer. Are you telling 50-50 partner in the broker? So you're telling me,
hey, he paid for it.
Okay, agreed. But what I'm saying is, guys, I'm trying to impart this story on you, and this is super important because a lot of young investors listen to me. How long has Alex been in real estate?
He's been thinking about – Alex and I started talking about partnering when I was in college.
And then he had what I had, some issues, personal issues.
Major issues. I lost all trust in him. I didn't want to have anything to do with him for a long time. Mm-hmm. He proved me wrong over 4 years by showing up.
By showing up over and over again, over delivering. Guys, I just did a podcast on this last week. What's value and how do you add it to people in your life? And this gentleman who I love now owns 50% of a brokerage. And he's only been in the game not too long ago. So just tell us about kind of the vision and what you are building for the agency and the value you're adding to the agents, which I believe the new currency in this world is growth. That's what I believe.
Well, okay, here's the vision. Starting with the agents, we want to teach them everything we can. We want to give them everything we've got. I'm going to keep networking. We're going to keep doing deals. We're going to keep learning. We're going to keep meeting people. We're going to build a network, and we're passing it all on to our agents. Okay. We bring our agents over on a really good split. We get people up to a certain level, and then they have the cap. After they make $15K for the company, they make 100% commission. We give our agents ways to make money on deals. We teach them about assigning contracts, where you sign up a contract and you transfer that contract to someone else, and you make the split. We teach them how to buy and hold. We bring people on. We're teaching them how to make money on every aspect, and they like it. And everyone's welcome. And it's in a lot of ways, like, I consider myself a misfit. It's just a group of people, man, and everyone's doing their own thing. And, like, everyone's slowly getting to meet people. I went to an apartment complex today that I wanted to look at. 7 of my agents showed up. The brokers are like, "What the hell's going on?" I'm like, "I told you I was bringing my team." They love it, man. I told them, take these numbers, send them to investors, and tell them you have a deal. See if you can get a buyer. this is what I do. I'm showing you what I do. I'm looking at this apartment complex. I'm not going to buy it, but I'm looking at it. I'm finding out who owns it. I'm finding out who manages it. I'm learning about the market. I'm getting a deal that I can send to other investors. Check it out. Go do this, And it's been amazing. I tell this guy, like, I tell people a lot of things, and some people do it, and some people don't, right? And we got this one agent who's doing $1 Million Mondays. He's touring a $1 million listing every Monday and filming it. I told him to do that, and I was so proud, So we're creating everything we can to make our agents be successful in real estate. And then we're trying to have branches of the company. So we're trying to have a wholesaling branch. We're trying to have a lending, a leasing. And those branches, we want to give people within our team a profit share of that branch, and a good profit share. And then that's their team to run with and grow and make money on. Mm-hmm. And we want to build all of that out over time by finding the right partners.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically, where me and you are both doing the same philosophy, is that I have a really good knack of finding good talent. I think that people that are supported, I think that people feel like they're valued, and you're teaching them things, will work over and above, even if they have to work up to get to the money plateau that they're looking to get, because they feel valued and respected. Yeah. And I think that this day and age, if you're not doing that, I think you're doing an extremely disservice to your company.
Let me just tell you one other quick thing.
Sure.
I got a girl on my team named Doreen, and I think she might be listening. I'm not sure. She is a full-time job. She's a female, and she's black. And she goes out and makes money every single day and hustles. And I went on the first 4 or 5 meetings with her to show her how I would do a meeting. And I wasn't going to get anything out of it. And she saw that. And she saw that I was like, here's how Doreen can make you money. It was about, how's Doreen going to make money on this deal? Every wholesaler company in Austin wants her to work with them. And she won't do it because she is so loyal to me. And I'm honored and blessed to have her on the team. And that's just one, that's like, it makes me tear up in some ways, dude, because I believed in someone, and like she believed in me, and like we're going to build something big, man.
No, dude, you're going to get me emotional. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. No, because it's like, no, it is the truth, man. And dude, like, I'm 38 now. I would have given my right arm to be 18 and have met you and be working for you, because I would just be like out there working 20-hour days. Because when you work with somebody like you that's so passionate about helping and learning and everything, like, you just want to work. And it's not even about the money. And people get so lost in the numbers. They get so lost in how many doors you have, so many deals and everything. And if you're building what you're building for legacy, right, then it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter, like, what you're made that month. And like, who doesn't want to make money? Of course they don't. But what I want to do by bringing on people like you is explaining to people that there's so much more out there to pay attention to.
The world, the sky's the limit. You say this, and the reason I said all that about Doreen is that she has every reason in the world to have everything against her. She's the person that I look at and say, what are you actually telling me an excuse? Like, come on, man. I'm still making sacrifices every day. I have this guy today. He's like, how can I do it? Alex is like, look, March 18th, 2019, I made the leap. Alex still doesn't know where his money's coming in. He's gonna be doing very well. He's gonna own half the company. He owns half the company. He's 24 and he's struggling, man. Like, but it's gonna work out. Alex owns like 16 doors. He could sell all those doors and have $1 million maybe. But he's still struggling. And a lot of this comes from hard work, and a lot of it comes from fear. Doreen grew up poor, and she never wants to go back to that. So I don't know, man.
No, I mean, we all have our motivators, and something I'll just share because it's on the top of my mind. I didn't know that I was going to get laid off in March. And I didn't know that I would be moving to Arizona in 2 days. I didn't know all these things, but massive life changes. But through all this and through all the changes, Matt has been there. I have other friends my mentors who have been there, and it's because I am surrounded by amazingly positive people that don't allow me and hold me accountable to not slide into the victim role, that I'm the happiest I've ever been. And it's because I believe in myself. It's because I believe in who I am. And I was comfortable enough to sit back and take a minute and really assess what I wanted. And guess what? The universe delivered it in spades. Um, I'm blessed and grateful to be on this call with you and to share this knowledge that we have. And, really what this life is about is just doing things with people that you want to do things with. I mean, and I want to work with this guy every day because I know I never have to question whether he's going to bring it or not. And
well, dude,
yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
No, I'm just saying, like, you asked me to come on and speak to your agents, and you were like, "Man, make sure you bring the positivity." And I'm like, "Fuck off, dude!" Like, I'm coming in like a Mack truck every day. What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
Well, no, you come in with a mindset, man, and we'll have to. I don't want to dig into your story right now, but
Dude, go ahead, bro.
You got me thinking about people's minds and brains.
Go ahead, dig in me. I'm good. Dig in me.
Do you feel like your mind's like that? Like you have this mind where yeah, I have down days, man, for sure. But I try to put things in perspective and get out of it as quick as I can. And
well, I'll tell you truthfully. And if you're comfortable talking about it, we can. If not, you just answer or don't answer. When I used to drink a lot, and like I would go on like weeks where I would like just be playing the victim. Like I was down and like, I'm like, oh, this is woe is me and all this shit. Right. And because I changed my circle and because I changed the people I'm around that don't allow me to go there and push me in, and I got sober and all this stuff. Hey, drink if you want to. I don't give a shit. It just doesn't work for me. I still make drinks for people like all the time. But what I'm saying is like, because I cultivated this new mindset, because I cultivated a belief in myself, because what people need to understand is that the only person you're fighting right now is the guy in the mirror. That's it.
Yeah.
Or the woman in the mirror. That's it. There's no other. You can bitch and moan about the government. You can bitch and moan about the economy, the market, the rest of that shit. It doesn't fucking matter. And what I've cultivated is Sunday was terrible for me. I'm moving, like I can't see my dog, like I'm packing up my shit and moving across the country. Like I was in a bad fucking mood. And I said, you know what? You're just going to get it on. You're going to do what you got to. You're going to get through it. And you're going to wake up tomorrow. You're going to meditate. You're going to recenter yourself. And you're just going to live to fight another day. And it's because I've cultivated people that I can reach out to, people that I respect and care for, that have my back. And I'm not around negativity, that I can get out of it in hours now, or like 30 minutes instead of weeks, right? And it's not always perfect. It's not always rosy. There's deals like you had your 25K deal loose, but you're still like getting back up and you're still hitting that button every day, right? And you're doing it for your family. You're doing it for freedom. And what I know for damn sure is that in 10 to 15 years, me and you are just going to be laughing on our boat because we worked and we put in effort and we gave value to people, but we won't stop working.
No, but hey man, it's like we're laughing right now. We're living life.
What is now listen, I'll go on the couch for a minute. I'll go on the couch, Mr. Tefke, because this guy's more insightful and thoughtful than you think. What did you tell me when I was on one of those walks with you and your family a couple weeks ago, when I was talking to you about the podcast, and I don't know if people's listening and all that stuff, and you told me two things that changed my life. You said, if you could do the podcast for the next 2 months and couldn't release any episodes, would you still do it? And I was like, yeah. Because like I get to talk to my boy right now and like we're having a good time. But then you said something to me that is really stuck with me and really messed me up. And every time I feel down on myself, I think about it. You asked me, You said, when you came to me 2 years ago, Austin, and you talked about this life that you wanted to create where you were traveling around and you were visiting investors and you were doing your podcast and all these things, like, you're like, you might not realize it, but you're doing that right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Perspective, right? Oh,
Yeah.
it's a better light.
For sure. And why don't you talk on that? Like what?
Well,
yeah.
I will. I mean, this is something that applies. I heard Kevin Hart on Joe Rogan. He said, so life is not a game. It's obviously very real. It's hardcore out here. But it has game-like qualities. Life has game-like qualities. And it's like, if you start seeing how these things work, and it does take money, it does take knowledge and relationships, you literally unlock levels, and you like realize that there's this whole other world that's possible, and then you realize like there's endless possibilities. And I think some people stay on a certain level and like they're good, but like I want to just keep breaking through and seeing what's out there and what's possible, and it's just following what's put my way, following the people, following what I know, and sticking to that. And I don't know, man, things just kind of like tend to fall in place over time. And there's ups and downs, no question about it.
I love it. And we'll use the famous Matty A quote. You have to make your ceiling your new floor.
Yeah.
It's like,
and it doesn't have to, and you're big on this, man. It doesn't have to be more houses. Like, it's not what it's about. This is just what works for me.
1,000%. My new rule. I forgot to say it in the training I did today. I forgot. Damn it. All right, here's my new thing. This is my favorite thing. If you were making $50,000 a year and you didn't work, right? Didn't work. You were making $50,000 a year from your rentals. And I told you that I would give you $120K, but you had to work 3 days a week. Would you take it?
$50K and I don't have to work? Yeah. $50K.
Everybody picks the 125, the 120. You want to know why? So they can say they make 120. But what they don't understand is the government takes about 25 grand of that, so you really don't make 100. And so be careful picking your goals and your dreams on numbers. Make sure you're in a lifestyle that you want, regardless of what other people think about it.
And dude, I'm very ambitious. I have big dreams, but I'm not a luxury guy. I'm not. I don't know why. Like, there's something in me that wants to keep growing and do more. I want to give back. I want to get back to Africa, what I saw. I'm not at that point. I want to get there. There's things I can do now, yes, but I want to do it at a massive level. And to do that requires like major growth. And that's where I'm trying to go. And like Alex and I, we know somebody that had this big wholesale deal. They made like 200K. 300K, whatever. And he just started traveling the world. And that's what he's doing right now. And we were both talking about it. We're like, man, if we made that check, like, we would be back at it tomorrow, no question at all.
1,000%. I would have put it in a deal and been making that money back every month, because that's just me.
And hey, that guy's not wrong for that.
No, he's not. And that's what's great. And he's happy. And he might come back in a year and bang out another one and disappear again. And that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we commend him for that. So why don't we talk about how people can, find out about your companies and training and all that stuff, and just kind of just tell them how they can find you. I know, is that training that you're doing, is that open for like anybody?
Yeah, man, it's open to everybody, just like our team.
Yeah,
everybody's welcome.
Tell them.
Good people, hard workers are all welcome on the team. We're easy to get a hold of, super easy. I can give my cell phone number, Matt Teifke at Gmail, Facebook. We're everywhere. Just ask me. I'm happy to help. We have a coaching program that we're charging $1,000 per month. It's a month-to-month contract. We have to prove our worth every 30 days. I never thought I'd get into coaching, but I'm actually really loving it, and I know that I can provide value. I can save someone 12 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand on one deal. And it's month to month, which is, we put that in place because I was always like, I don't want to go spend 50 grand, 20 grand and be locked in for 6 months. Like $1,000 bucks, if we don't prove that we're worth it in 30 days, we're not going to keep going. and we have no interest in making $1,000 off you and having a bad name in the real estate business. Like that's like the opposite of what we're trying to do. So that's one thing. We do Zoom calls Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10:30, free. Actually, it's Google Hangouts now because we started getting Russian hackers. Straight up, man.
And I was on the call, and then you had Kyle on the call talking about multifamily. So there's tons of value that
our
you're
agents
adding.
asked for multifamily. We brought on Kyle. You're just the motivational
guy. They asked to get steamrolled with motivation. With motivation,
our agents loved it. Yeah, like and I'm not knocking
and true story. Look, true story. Cassie from that call reached out to me, and I've been helping her and introducing her to people the next day, guys. So, like, look, you never know what's going to happen.
To be honest with you, the way my mind works is that I'm not going to hold it against them. I don't have any expectations, but I'm a little let down that not every single one of them reached out to you, because what did you offer them?
Whatever they want.
So like, I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. Like, I'm all over that all the time. And like, I don't know, man, you can't force someone to do it, but you can put it all in front of them. And
and here's why we have such a good relationship. I called you out like the other day, and I was like, hey, look, I love Round Rock, I love Austin, but I think you need to get a little more, continental, right? And so you're like, okay, tell me what plane I got to jump on when. And like, I love that about you. You're like, let's do it. And like, that's great. I love it. So
no talking, man, just being about it. Like, I posted something on Facebook the other day, like, we all got ideas, but what are you doing about it?
Ain't that the truth? I was the idea monster in my 20s. So I try to keep those under wraps now, and until they're ready to be let out of the cage. Dude, thank you so much. Dude, guys, I like spend the night at his house. This is how close we are. I love this guy. I love his kids. I love his wife mainly. She's the coolest chick I know. So thank you so much. You brought the fire. This is going to be great. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It's been a cool journey, and we're going to keep going. So I'm around. Appreciate your time as well.
1,000%, guys. Thank you so much. If y'all like this, make sure you send it out to your friends. And thank y'all for listening so much.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. It means a lot.